fight analysis of Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira. Now, looking at two of these guys, I would say that Charles Oliveira has a lot more experience against high-level fighters than Islam Makhachev. But I think it's Islam's big chance to show what he has, and he's been waiting for this moment for a long time. With only one loss, I think Islam is going to do really well, and I think this is going to be his toughest challenge. And my fight prediction is that Charles Oliveira will be the champion, but for a few reasons. So I think that let's see here. So I think that his jiu-jitsu, Charles Oliveira's jiu-jitsu, is pretty, high level, and but I feel like Islam has faced people with high level jiu-jitsu before, particularly Ramos, and in the fight with Davey Ramos, he was able to put him against the cage and start raining down punches. So, it shows that if you are able to use the cage, you're going to do against a jiu-jitsu guy. He's not able to hip-scape and use his hips, which is the big part of jiu-jitsu on the bottom, is that creating space to set up submissions or what have it. So it's going to be important for Charles Oliveira to stay off the cage, for sure. But at the same time, Islam Makhachev, I think, is a great wrestler, a phenomenal wrestler, and I used to train at AKA with him. And actually, funny story, when I first met him, he's like, he told me to grab his leg for a single leg. And I was like trying to shake his hand, and I grab his leg, and then he immediately tries to defend it and gets out. But he did get out, and he didn't respect my single leg. So it was pretty funny how he introduced himself to me when I trained there. But I think Islam in practice is just as effective as Khabib when I saw him. But in the fights that I've seen, Islam is not able to implement that grappling style as well as Khabib has. And Khabib had the same game plan, and that hasn't been the same. Obviously his game plan was to take this opponent down and start striking it on the ground and control your opponent, and he utilized the cage to get the wrestling takedowns. So Islam does do that, but he's a lot more of a striker. I feel like people think of Islam as Khabib 2.0, but that's not really true. I think he has a different style. He has more striking that he likes to utilize. And from my fights that I have seen, I saw him wait for the decision, and he wasn't as decisive. And so I think that's why I'm going to give this fight to Charles Oliveira. I think Charles is going to keep it on. He's going to win on his feet, and I think that Islam is not going to be able to implement that grappling style 100% against Charles Oliveira. I think he'll be able to get up or create space and then get up, but I don't see Charles Oliveira submitting Islam either. And that is a bold claim, because he has. If you look at the fight against Kevin Lee, he had a heel hook, and he had and he obviously submitted him with the guillotine choke. So his jiu-jitsu, I think, is better than Davey Ramos, even though Davey Ramos on paper was a better jiu-jitsu person, previously to MMA fighting. But maybe we could say that Charles Oliveira has the best jiu-jitsu that's been implemented in the UFC. So even though Charles Oliveira might not have the most decorated background in jiu-jitsu prior he transitioned to MMA a lot faster and didn't really complete his jiu-jitsu career, you know, so he could be underrated in his jiu-jitsu, even though a lot of people know he's great at jiu-jitsu. I mentioned Kevin Lee because his wrestling, you know, so that's going to be very similar to Islam Makhachev, you know, so is Charles Oliveira going to be able to utilize his jiu-jitsu? That's going to be a really fun question to see inside this match. And I think it would be great to see him if he was able to submit Islam over just over striking. I think it would be more impressive if he was able to counter Islam's, Dagestan, Sambo, wrestling type of style, so that's going to be funny to see. I think Islam his chance to win is to utilize his wrestling, is to utilize that cage knowledge 100%. I think his striking's good, but I don't think it's better than Charles Oliveira. So from a striking standpoint, Charles Oliveira is what I think the better athlete. And from a grappling standpoint, I believe it's Islam, but their styles are a lot different on the ground, and that's what makes this match so exciting if it becomes a grappling match, which I really hope for. So tune in. It's going to be a great fight. I will talk to you next time. Bye.